Boys, wir bleiben auch gleich im Basketball. What we learned from the Andrew Wiggins Trade. Da bin ich mal gespannt, was nmzhoops, habe ich noch nicht mal abonniert, Digga. Das ist, glaube ich, das erste Video, was ich von denen hier gucke. Wollen wir mal was die dazu zu sagen haben. Ich muss ganz ehrlich sagen, das erste Jahr, dass Andrew Wiggins da war, habe ich ihn krass gehasst, Digga. Wirklich krass gehasst, weil er in den Playoffs nichts hinbekommen hat und Shots genommen hat, wo ich mir denke, Bruder, 10 Sekunden auf der Uhr, er könnte den Game-Winning-Shot hitten, anstatt er den Pass zu Curry macht, der halb frei ist. Halb frei, für Curry ist das komplett frei. Nimmt er den selber einen Turnaround-Shot oder so eine Kacke. Weiß er, ist auf einmal Michael Jordan geworden. Ganz schwierig, aber er hat sich eingekriegt und ist mittlerweile halt der wichtigste, ich würde mal sagen, der wichtigste Roleplayer bei den Golden State Warriors. Viele sagen Star, wegen All-Star-Shit so, aber wusstet ihr auch, dass er in ein All-Star-Spiel gewotet wurde, weil ein japanischer Actor, also Schauspieler, meinte auf Twitter, dass mal alle für Andrew Wiggins voten sollen und er dadurch dann einfach All-Star-Starter geworden ist. Als ich Shooting 2K True. Bin auf 2 Games morgen früh gespannt, welche denn noch.
Few productive statistical seasons in Minnesota, he ended up signing a max
Kannst du ein bisschen lauter reden?
Contract extension, and there were many who felt like he was undeserving of this at the time. And watching Andrew Wiggins, a lot of people in the community felt like there was still something missing, and some even questioned whether or not he loved the game of basketball.
aufmachen?
One thing nobody questioned though was how much God-given talent Andrew Wiggins had, and we'll get back to why that's important in a second. Before we take a look at the film, let's talk about the perception of Andrew Wiggins at the time of the trade. Wiggins signed the 5-year rookie max extension in 2017. He was then prematurely labeled a negative asset while playing for those below-average Timberwolves teams. Ultimately, Minnesota had to attach a first-round pick to trade Wiggins for D'Angelo Russell. From here, the question becomes, what did a forward-thinking organization like the Warriors see in Andrew Wiggins that made them willing to pull the trigger on this deal? After all, given what we'd seen in Minnesota to this point, he couldn't be the right fit for the Warriors' motion system. Or could he? The first thing that stands out about Andrew Wiggins during his time in Minnesota was how frequently they used him in the pick and roll. Per Synergy, during his final full season as a Timberwolf, he ran 26.5% of his possessions as the pick and roll ball handler. I fully understand the value of on-ball reps for a young developing player, but watch here. Andrew Wiggins has no sense of timing on the pick and roll. He tries to go as his screener comes up, and then he just throws this ball away. By year 5, there was more than enough evidence that proved that Andrew Wiggins wasn't the strongest decision maker, didn't have the tightest handle, nor did he pose the pull-up shooting ability to force defenses to extend out to him. It also didn't help that he was playing with some lineups that made absolutely no sense. Wiggins was also commonly used as an isolation scorer. In his final full season in Minnesota, he averaged .794 points per possession in isolation. This, relative to his peers, was not bad at all, but considering that other forms of offense are more efficient than isolation, it left a lot to be desired. You can see here Wiggins gets a switch, but again, he has no sense of timing. Look at the shot clock, and he also
genau das meine ich, Digga. Er hat einfach bad Shots genommen.
Shot. On this next possession, same thing here. He's taking an early clock off the dribble, long 2, which defenses are more than happy to give up. One thing I picked up on was how underrated of a cutter Andrew Wiggins was during his time in Minnesota. You see, he scored 1.3 possession on cuts. It just wasn't very frequent because Minnesota didn't have the ball handling or playmaking talent. Watch on this possession as Taj Gibson dribbles at him. Wiggins plants his high foot and goes backdoor for a nice finish. And on this play, when Minnesota works the ball to Cat on the block, you see all the defenders' attention go that way, and Wiggins waits and then expertly cuts into the available space for a nice finish. For a lot of the same reasons we didn't get to see Wiggins utilized as a cutter, we didn't get to see much of him spotting up, shooting catch-and-shoot threes. One thing I noticed looking at his career trends, he's actually shot more catch-and-shoot threes every single season of his career. Even though it wasn't very often, when Wiggins played off the catch, he was better able to weaponize his physical tools. Look at this straight line drive right to the rack. And on this next possession, he's on the second side, so when he catches it, all he has to do is rip and go. What a finish. If there was one area people were most disappointed with Andrew Wiggins, it was on the defensive end. He was expected to be an instant contributor on that end, but due to lapses, inconsistent effort, and sometimes just a lack of discipline, he would often find himself giving up easy baskets. Watch how he overhelps here and fails to get back out to his guy, who knocks down an open 3. Even then, there were clear examples of Andrew Wiggins being able to hold his own in space. Watch him here force Jaylen Brown into a turnover. On this next possession, he fights through a screen to stay attached to Bradley Beal, runs him off the 3-point line, then erases the shot. And on this last possession, while guarding Buddy Hield, he has to tag
ohne Badges. Hast du, warte mal. Wie ohne Badges? Hast du keinen Rebound?
To get back out to Hield, run him off the three-point line, contain his dribble, and then he ends the possession nice with a contest here, just textbook. As we fast forward to Golden State, it was clear to Bob Myers that there was a pathway for Andrew Wiggins to be a vital piece. It started with Andrew Wiggins scaling back his self-created opportunities and instead replacing them with the flashes of what we saw before. Instinctual cutting, shooting and attacking off of the catch, and locking in and using his physical gifts to make an impact defensively. He just needed the right coach and the right system to bring those things out of him, and luckily Golden State was that place. Perhaps the most exciting part in all of this is we finally got to see Andrew Wiggins apply his truly special physical tools into becoming a defensive stopper. Look at this contest on Tatum into an air ball. There are few players like Andrew Wiggins who could contain a LeBron James back down, high point this ball and block his shot, stay with him and force another miss. That's amazing defense. Here he is on Luka to open up game 3. The Mavericks opening set dies down. Luka then goes into isolation, and watch how Wiggins mirrors him, doesn't go for several head fakes, stays down, and they force a turnover. When we take a second to look at Andrew Wiggins in his final full season in Minnesota compared to Golden State, you notice that his pick and roll ball handler possessions were nearly sliced in half, isolation more or less stayed the same, he began to cut more, and he was often used as a spot-up player. Now in a more comfortable role playing off of Curry & Co., we saw Wiggins play off the catch more than ever before. Nice finish.
Nice finish.
Rather than force the action, Wiggins was allowed to play within the flow of the offense, and this season he shot a career-best 41% from three-point range on catch-and-shoot attempts on career-best volume. Even his read and react cuts were better leveraged in the system. Watch Curry draw 2 here, and as Draymond gets this ball, the defender's forced to step up. You see John Morant has to cover 2 momentarily, and Wiggins cuts behind for the nice finish. And one last area where Andrew Wiggins shined all postseason was on the offensive glass. Watch here as Jaylen Brown watches and fails to box out. Wiggins tips the ball off the glass, high points it, and puts it right back in. Now, having looked at this trade, my main takeaways are: number 1, bet on positional size and physical tools when in doubt, because you simply can't teach those things. Number 2, a player's draft position and contract should not be the end-all be-all. And 3rd, utilization and role definition makes all the difference. In Golden State, Wiggins was considered a championship piece, and in Minnesota, I bet if they could do it over again, they wouldn't force-feed Wiggins on-ball possessions before he was ready. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. Comment down below with any future topics you'd like.
Also ich habe nur zugehört, Digga, ich muss kurz ein bisschen was erklären hier. Aber im Großen und Ganzen hat er recht. Bisschen mehr Elan mit den Videos, ich lasse aber mal ein Abo da. War gut recherchiert und er hat halt einfach genau die gleiche Meinung wie ich habe. Aber hat er halt auch recht, ne? Hat er einfach recht.